Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Friday, February 7th, 2025, and you're listening to Alex's News. The weather in Riverside will be mild today with a high of 63.9 degrees and a low of 57.3 degrees Fahrenheit. Coming up, we'll examine the diplomatic tensions surrounding Iran's nuclear enrichment program and what it means for international relations. We'll also explore the increasing global concerns about bird flu and its potential impact on public health and agriculture. Plus, we'll delve into an exciting astronomical discovery as scientists reveal how a newly observed quasar is reshaping our understanding of the early universe. All this and more coming up on Alex's News. Stay tuned. We begin tonight with a developing story on Iran's nuclear program. Joining us now is our foreign affairs correspondent, Ethan Parker. Ethan, there's been a significant announcement from Iran's leadership today.
That's right, Grace. According to Time magazine, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has firmly shut the door on any potential nuclear negotiations with the United States, describing such talks as not intelligent, wise, or honorable.
Can you put this into context for us? Where does Iran's nuclear program stand right now?
Well, Grace, the situation is quite concerning. According to recent reports from ABC News, Iran is currently enriching uranium to 60% purity. To put that in perspective for our viewers, the 2015 nuclear deal, known as the JCPOA, only permitted enrichment up to 3.67%. We're talking about a dramatic increase.
And what does that mean in practical terms, Ethan?
According to data from Perplexity API, Iran is producing over 30 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium monthly, with their total stockpile now around 200 kilograms. The International Atomic Energy Agency considers 42 kilograms sufficient to produce one nuclear bomb if further enriched to 90%. It's worth noting that their enrichment levels have steadily increased since 2019, and as Time magazine reports, they even briefly reached 83.7% last year.
I understand there's a new president in Iran. Has this affected their stance?
That's an interesting point, Grace. Time magazine reports that Iran's reformist president Masoud Pezeshkian had initially shown some openness to Western dialogue. However, Khamenei's statement today effectively overrides any such diplomatic initiatives. This comes despite former President Trump's recent suggestion of a potential verified nuclear peace agreement.
And there's a crucial deadline approaching, isn't there?
Yes, Grace. In just 258 days, in October 2025, the snapback mechanism is set to expire. This is a crucial provision that currently allows for the reimposition of UN sanctions without the possibility of a veto. According to WTOP News, U.S. intelligence agencies believe that while Iran hasn't started a weapons program yet, they're positioning themselves to potentially do so.
Thank you for that comprehensive update, Ethan. We'll be sure to keep our viewers informed as this story develops. This is story 1 of 3. We turn now to our health correspondent Chloe Bennett for an important update on the global bird flu situation. Chloe has been following this story closely. Chloe?
Thanks, Grace. The highly pathogenic avian influenza, or HPAI, continues to be a significant concern for health officials worldwide, with both H5N1 and H7 strains affecting multiple regions and species.
Let's start with Australia. I understand they've had some recent developments?
Yes, Grace. According to the Australian Department of Agriculture, the country has just declared itself free from H7 HPAI as of January 23rd. This comes after dealing with outbreaks throughout 2024 that affected 16 different locations. 8 in Victoria, 6 in New South Wales, and 2 in the Australian Capital Territory. The government isn't taking any chances, though, implementing a substantial $95 million package to prepare for potential H5N1 threats.
And what's the situation here in the United States?
According to the NYC Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, the situation here is quite complex. The H5N1 strain has been detected in various animals, from poultry and wild birds to mammals, dairy cattle, and even domestic cats across multiple states. As of now, we've seen 67 confirmed human cases nationwide, with 1 fatality reported.
That's concerning. What about the New England region specifically?
New Hampshire Public Radio reports that while the virus has been detected in wild birds in New Hampshire, it hasn't yet appeared in commercial poultry flocks or dairy herds in New England. However, health officials are maintaining vigilance.
Can you put these numbers into a global perspective for us?
Certainly. The historical data shows that between 2003 and December 2024, there have been 954 human cases globally, with 464 fatalities. That's approximately a 52% case fatality rate, though experts note this percentage might be lower in reality due to unreported mild cases.
What should our viewers know about transmission and prevention?
Health authorities emphasize that transmission primarily occurs through direct animal contact. Most U.S. cases in 2024-2025 have been linked to exposure to infected dairy cattle or among commercial egg farm workers. The good news is there hasn't been any evidence of sustained human-to-human transmission since 2007. Prevention measures include strict biosecurity protocols for farms, keeping domestic and wild birds separate, cooking poultry thoroughly to 165°C F, avoiding raw milk, and using proper protective equipment when handling birds.
Thank you, Chloe, for that comprehensive update. That's story 2 of 3 this morning. We'll be right back with more news after these messages. Here are some other headlines. A major fire broke out aboard the Russian spy ship Kildin off the Syrian coast last week. The 55-year-old vessel, which had been monitoring NATO activities, burned for over 4 hours and temporarily lost steering capability. While a NATO vessel offered assistance, the Russian crew declined help. The ship has since regained control and remains stationed off the Syrian port of Tartus. In Washington, the Senate has confirmed Russell Vought to lead the White House Office of Management and Budget. Vought, who previously served during Trump's first term, was confirmed in a party line vote of 53-47. As director of the OMB, he will have significant influence over federal spending and policy implementation. 13 Democratic state attorneys general are preparing to sue over DOGE's access to government payment systems containing personal data. The lawsuit aims to prevent Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from accessing federal payment systems that contain sensitive information about Americans. States involved include New York, California, and Arizona. In India, opposition lawmakers have staged protests over the alleged mistreatment of Indian deportees by U.S. authorities. The controversy arose after 104 Indian migrants were deported on a U.S. military plane, with deportees reporting being shackled during the 40-hour flight. India's parliament was disrupted as lawmakers demanded discussion on the matter, while External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar noted that U.S. regulations have allowed such restraints since 2012. A USAID stop work order has raised concerns about potential humanitarian impacts, with millions of lives reportedly at stake. The directive could affect critical projects related to food security, water supply, healthcare services, and disaster relief efforts around the world. We turn now to a fascinating discovery in space that's challenging what we know about the early universe. Joining us to discuss this breakthrough is our science correspondent, Ethan Parker. Ethan, tell us about this remarkable finding.
Thanks, Grace. According to reporting from the Associated Press, astronomers have made an extraordinary discovery. They've detected what's being called the largest radio jet ever observed from the early universe. This massive stream of energy is shooting out from a quasar known as J1601 plus 3102, and it's truly enormous, spanning about 200,000 light-years.
To put that in perspective for our viewers, how does that compare to our own galaxy?
That's a great question. This jet is actually twice the width of our entire Milky Way galaxy. However, as CBS 19 reports, it's still considerably smaller than some jets we've seen from later periods in cosmic history. For comparison, there's one called Hercules A, that's 1.5 million light-years across, and another named 3C236 that stretches an incredible 15 million light-years.
What makes this particular discovery so significant?
What's really fascinating, according to Fox 61, is when this quasar formed. We're talking about a time when the universe was only 9% of its current age, roughly 1.2 billion years after the Big Bang. But here's what's really puzzling scientists. The black hole powering this jet is relatively modest, with a mass about 450 million times that of our Sun.
And why is that size surprising to scientists?
Well, it challenges our previous understanding of how black hole mass relates to jet size. The research team, led by Annick Glaudemans from the National Science Foundation's NOIR lab, faced significant challenges in making this detection. They had to work around interference from cosmic microwave background radiation, essentially the leftover energy from the Big Bang itself.
How were they able to overcome these challenges?
It was truly a collaborative effort. Multiple observatories across Europe, Hawaii, and Texas worked together to make this detection possible. The jet's extreme brightness and energy output were key factors that made it visible despite the interference. The findings have now been published in the astrophysical journal Letters, and they're helping us better understand how supermassive black holes influence their surroundings in the universe's early days.
Thank you, Ethan, for bringing us up to speed on this fascinating discovery. That's story 3 of 3 for this segment. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King with Claude Sonnet 3.5, the Perplexity API, and the Google Cloud Text-to-Speech API. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.